Okay, my name is Samuel. I'm a product designer, and today we are going to be discussing and showing you how to use Google Forms. So basically, Google Form is part of the many softwares that Google has in their ecosystem, and basically it allows you to create, to ask to share surveys at scale. And to create an account, all you need to do is to have a Google account. Once you have a Google account, you have access to all the softwares in the Google ecosystem. And to have an account, you just need to create your email. And to create email, if you do not know how to create an email, you can put that in the chat box. You can share resources on how to create an email. Today, we're just going to be focusing on Google Forms and showing you how to create a Google Form. So if you already have one and you want to set up for you to find Google, Google Form, no matter where you are on your browser, all you need to do is you can come here by searching google.com, or if, for example, you search something earlier, you were searching something on Google, for example, you were in this particular part of your browser, no matter where you are in your browser, you would always find this on Google. You will always find these dots here. Once you click on the dots, it would allow you to scroll down through the many softwares that Google has in their ecosystem. And you can see at the bottom here, we have Forms. Forms, you find Forms here. And once you click on it, it will load to docs.google.com. So basically, or you could actually pin this if you would be needing to create forms from time to time. You can pin this so that you can always have access to it on your browser. And together with Forms, we have other softwares that work on the web. And you should take note that, okay, you have a mobile app for each of these softwares besides Forms, but there's no desktop app, so they run on the browser. All you need to do is to go to docs.google.com and you have access to any of this. You can switch from spreadsheets to slides to docs to forms. So once you are in, you can choose between templates. Give me a sec, sorry, let me switch to it. I want to see how it look like if you're just starting afresh. So if you want, once you get this, you can pick from the many templates that Google has already, contact information, any of them, or you can create a blank form and start from scratch. And once you start creating forms, all the recent forms you've ever created would appear here. And to continue to go down, you can sort, you can filter them based on who created it, either it was created by you or anyone else. So you click on blank and it would open the forms. So there are three main tabs in a Google form. We have the questions where you can ask the participants, you want to ask questions. You can see it's asking me to take a tour. If you're new, if you just created, you're going to Google Forms for the first time with your account, it will show you this. I'm using a different account so that you can see what it will look like if you're just coming to this environment for the first time on Google. I'm going to take time. So basically we have questions, we have response, and we have settings. And we're going to go going through the three of them: the questions, response, settings, how to create the individual forms, how it is connected to the spreadsheet so that you can see the result, the response people have submitted, how to export responses, and how to customize your forms to make them look the way you want it to look. Either it's you want it to align with the brand or the project company or whatever it is you're working on or with, or you want to just create some sort of personality and give it some sort of feel. So we're going to how to upload images and also how to add some level of logic, because in as much as Google Form does not have that logic part in terms of creating form, I would explain what logic means in a bit. You can still hack your way through and create some sort of, okay, if the user clicks this, you can direct them to a different part of the form to continue the query. Now, if you want a form that allows you to perform more logic-based responses. Like if you, for example, what I mean by logic is if you want people who are based in Nigeria to answer a certain set of questions, different from people who are based in other countries, or if you want people who are based in the US to see some questions that are different, and you want people that are based in Nigeria not to see those questions, you can ask a question like, what country are you from? Then if based on the country they tick, you can direct them to different forms you get. So that is basically logic there when it comes to form. Then based on that response, you could narrow it down again. Based on the response, narrow it down again to another set of forms. So based on response, users will see different questions. You can do this with another tool called, this logic I just explained, another tool called Typeforms. We're not going to be covering that today. Perhaps we can do that some other time. But if you just want to create a simple form to perform any function, like just collect data and run some analysis or any research efforts, Google Form is the best place to start. So first, we have the title. The title here, you just put in the name of the form. Let's just call this form tutorial, Google Form tutorial, Google Forms tutorial. Okay. This is relatively new, but allows you to add to customize. Like we have more customization features right now on Google Form. You can customize your form by selecting, and you can make it bold. You can make it slant, your title slant, underline, or even make it a link. But I would advise that you keep it simple and leave it as bold, or even just leave it the way it is without the bold. I mean, referring to the title. Now, after that, you can go in to add a description. Your description can be long. And for example, if it's a research effort, I'm saying this for people who are into UX research or UX design, you want to create you're creating a survey to get some feedback from users and to understand their mental models, or to ask them of features they'll prefer get. So it's kind of any of the research types methodology are using, but you want to collect data, right? It's good to have a form description. In a form description, you get to tell users, give users more details about the form and why they should actually fill the form and how it's going to be, or what it to be used for. You just give a little bit of context, right? You give a little bit of context to the form. So after you've done that, it basically has all this functionality, so you can list things in numbers or bullet points as well as underline. Then once you're done with that, and you can also embed links into the form description. Once you're done with that, so let's just write Google Forms again there. Google Form tutorial. So for example, we can make this a bullet point like this. We can also make it numbered list. You can also attach a link to it. Just click on this icon, means link. This means numbered list. And you can see when you hover each of them, you see what they are used for. You can also slant and perform the other functions that we just tested with the title. So let's just take this off. All right. So then next we have the questions themselves. If you notice, there is this thing here, this list of icons on the side. These are called icons, by the way. So this, if you hover over each of them to tell you what they do. So basically, first thing you want to do, you want to ask them questions, right? So let's say you want to ask them, what is your name? Sorry, name. So what is your name? And if you're asking someone what is their name, you have to give them a provision to fill in their name, right? So how you do that is, this is the question, and below the question is where the response is going to be. So for you to activate the kind of response that this kind of question would require, because this kind of question requires a place where people can actually write their name. You can check this toggle here, this drop down, this one that has multiple choice, click on it. It shows you a list of response you can have to a question. So we're going to take short answer because a person's name can only be that long, and you want them to be able to input their name just right here. So we have the name, we have this. So you can also have a long paragraph. It's basically, when it will show you, I'll show you what the result of this form looks like. You can preview it with this. just click this icon and it takes you to another tab where you can see what the people you are sending out the link to this form would see when they open the form. So you also have other options. If it's a question that requires multi-choice and you want people to choose between multiple options, you click on multi-choice and you list the options you want them to take from. Then, you know what, let's just leave this as short answer. Let's check other features. So next we have duplicate. Duplicate means that, okay, whatever you wrote here, you want to have it again in the next question. So you just click on duplicate and it duplicates. Now, if that's not what you want, you can delete it again. Now, the other thing you have here, you can also delete questions and you can tick this required. Required means that the form will not allow whoever is filling it to submit till they answer that particular question that you turned on required on. So if you turn on required on this question and you have to fill this form until you put in your name, until you put in something, not necessarily your name, right? Like once you fill this in, it will allow you to submit, but till you fill it, it won't allow you to submit. And it usually comes with an asterisk somewhere on the form and that particular question showing that, hey, you have to fill this one. So you can do this when you want to make sure that whoever fills the form, impute a particular key data or particular information that you really, really need and you cannot do without in your research efforts, or whatever purpose you're using the forms for. Then this provides you with much more responses. So you can do this. So you can add response validation and you can add description. Description here allows you to, like, okay, this is, maybe you're asking a question like that is much more niched. Niched here will be like, they ask a question that you need to explain it because it's not something that is obvious, like what is your name? You can add a description to explain what your question is about so that they can answer your questions properly. You can also turn that off by going back there and deactivating the description. And that is all. You can also add images. So adding images will take you to, you can grab images from Google service. I just want to confirm, can everyone hear me? If you can hear me, all right, thank you very much. All right, perfect. So you can grab images from Google here. You can use your camera. Let me block that. So you can grab photos from Google Images. You search the image here. Let's search homes, for example. We can just click on this and click insert. Watch what happens. You now have an image here. This would form part of, for example, you have a question and you want them to answer based on the image. Like you want people to answer to the image. Like, for example, you want to, okay, maybe for this particular case, if you want to ask, the question is supposed to be like, you know what, I'm going to take this off and use this for next question. I'm going to delete this. You see, let me take it back again. You click these dots, they say dots, these 3 dots, vertical dots, attach to the image, click on it, go to remove, and remove it. Let's go to the next question. Then for this one, we'll go to image again, and we'll grab houses. Okay, let's grab, oh, that particular one is longer here. This has a distinct feature, so we can use this. So let's have this. You can ask like, what is the color of this house, right? Like you can see how this image can be used. So if the person will not answer the question just below it. So that's a very good use case for images. I'm going to take that off. You can also add caption to the images. So all this provides more functionality to your form, and you can use this for whatever use case that best suits it. You can change the image, you can align left, align right, align center, whatever the case may be. I'm just going to leave this one like this. You can change this for your questions. Maybe you want to ask them a series of questions, like let's change that to multi-choice since we've used short answer here. We're going to change this to multi-choice. Maybe want them to say, is the color of this house red? Is this red? So we want to add another option. You just click on add another response. Then you click on this. Then if you notice, let me do that again. And do that again. I want to be sure that I want to make sure that you actually get what I just did. Is it add option or add another? To add other, sorry. So if you click on add option, it takes you to the next one, and you still have that same option. But if you do click on add another, it would have other. Other would be like another option amongst the list of options that you've listed. Then if you click on option, it would allow you to impute another option. So those are two functions there. One would be default of order, probably be the last option. Then if you want to put in a particular value into the options, you just need to click on that and it allows you to do that. So you just have, let's say, blue. Then we have another one. Sorry, not this one. We have another one. Let's say green. It's simple. That's all. You can deactivate this required. I'm just going to go through a few more questions. Let's just have another one. How old are you? So we can have people answer using a checklist. So here they pick one option and they can pick another option and they can pick multiple options. Then, like if you notice, for example, with this one, it's either you pick red, blue, or green. But with this particular checklist, check boxes, it's possible for a person filling the form to pick multiple options. That's the meaning of the checkbox. You allow people to pick multiple options. Then we also have drop down, where you can list the options one after the other. Then we can also ask users to upload files. So if, for example, you want them to submit an assignment or a project or whatever the case may be, you can have them upload it here. Just click continue and put a maximum file size all the way to 10 gig, maximum number of files, allow only specific file types. Then you can pick between the different file options. Then I think that is it. So the same way you can duplicate this, go to the next one. For this particular question, you can add a title and a description, right? Like you could add, it's not for the option question, sorry. I mean, you can add a new section. That's the next thing I want to show you. Because basically what this means is that, remember at the top here, we have this as a title. This is general title. Consider this like the main heading. Then you can think of this as subheading. Maybe you want to now ask them a series of other questions that maybe you've asked them a bunch of questions. Now you want to collect their contact information. And like maybe you want to ask them for your WhatsApp number. Right? Like this one, this is supposed to be heading rather. So basically you want to ask them for personal information, right? So under this section, you can then have, you can then add more questions, right? Like you can then add another question, and so on. This is one way to do it, using this title and description to create a new section, or you can use that feature here. You can see you create a new section. Now, if you click on this is the part that allows you to add some level of logic to Google Form. I would pass to a description shortly. So here, if you notice, it is almost similar to this one, because this is section 1 of 2. This is section 2 of 2. You also have a title, a description. Then you can then put a series of questions under it. So just add questions. They have another question, as many questions as you choose. If you notice, when you're no longer, if you click on this question expands and this one closes. So when it closes, you can see how the questions actually look like. I'll give an example. You can see this one. If I click on it, it expands to show me more information. If I collapse it, this was almost very similar to what a user would see when they get to this part of the form. Then, so after section 1, continue to next section. So you can ask them to continue to next section, or you ask them to, you can direct them to submit. right? They can finish the first section, and once they are done with the first section, they submit. So you can add some if this, then do this, if this, then do that. So some level of logic there. You could also import questions, right? Like you could import questions from a bunch of options, like I believe you could export from docs, but predominantly you can import rather from a Google form, a previous question, series of questions you've asked in Google form file. Then that is it for uploading of documents. Then another thing we have here is videos. So for adding a video, let's just grab a video from, like, let's see Top Universe, right? Let's just search for Top Universe on YouTube. Okay, to take a while to search to grab that our YouTube channel. Yes, found it. Yes, just select. See, the same way the image appeared in this one, you can also bring in a video here and ask questions based on it. You can see you add a description, and that is it for that. It's just to let's move to the next question and see what it looks like. This is what it will look like when the user sees it. You could add some other functionalities, like you can align it center, or push it to either of the sides, and also delete it as well. Then yes, that's pretty much it. At this point, when the user fills the question all the way to this point, they can submit the form. So we're going to just leave this the way it is, right? Like just have this. Now, we want to submit a form, but before we share this form, right, so that people can fill the form and submit their responses, let's add some level of other. Let's customize this form. Let's change color, maybe change styles and stuff like this. So the first option we have is that we can change the typeface or the font. So you can change the font. We have a bunch of options here. Let's try Times New Roman. And you can see this is changing for only the header. So this header has changed. Then if I had a header here, personal information, it should also change. Let's see if that will happen. Okay, I think the header is only changing the main header of the form itself. Then we can also change the typeface of the question, so we can have this. Let's use something more distinct so that you can see the difference. Let's have this. You can see the title, the questions themselves have changed typeface. Then you can also have another one. You can have, let's try another typeface here for the response, for the text itself in the responses. You can see this is different. You can now change the color. Like you can see this has a light, you can see we have backgrounds here, right? Like we have different backgrounds. Now based on this, you will notice the background changes. So when you pick a color for the text, for the main color, like color of this particular part and color of, yes, this particular part, when you change that color, it gives you a corresponding background. So if, for example, if you pick green, if you pick orange rather, you get an equivalent of orange background there, then and so on and so forth. So you can add in more custom colors, you can adjust it here, put your brand color here, and you get exactly the color you're going for. Let's try something close to black and see what happens. Okay, so you can see this is more of black and white. Yes, so let's do something more meaningful. This looks weird, really weird. So let's try new tool for heading, right? Okay, for heading, we would have this. Then for this, we're going to use something more close to normal. Let's see, let's use Roboto. Okay, so yes. Yeah, no, we need to change one more thing, change this to Roboto as well. That's the response itself. Then that is it for customization. Yes, one more thing, you can add a header image, the same place you'll be taking. So you can upload, you can take photos from wherever let's use this one. These are this series of images based on these different categories that Google gave us. Let's pick this. This looks nice. You can insert, and we're going to have that up here. I don't know if you must have filled the form where you see something like this here. All you need to do is to go to this particular icon, click on it, and it takes you to this place. Then you can scroll down to see header. You can upload the image. I can remove it by clicking this X and upload another one. Go back, let's try something more, something colorful. This is nice, it's very colorful. Then if you noticed, when you pick a color, the background changes to match the theme of the image, just to create some sort of harmony in the form and make it more pleasing to look at. So pretty much that is it for there. So now let's preview. When you click the preview button, preview icon that I told you to create a new tab. Now you can see auto save your work. Yes, auto save my work. You can see the questions of this is what it will look like when the user sees the form. So remember we created a section. So at that point, this is a title. So now if you create a title, like this and add a description, let me add a description here so it will look more meaningful. Please include your personal detail, right? Okay, then let's preview again. Can preview or refresh this. This is a new preview tab. Let me refresh the previous one so you can know that we can do with both. You can say just refresh, or you click on the icon again to open your tab. So now when you go down, if you notice, you can use this for a new section. Maybe you want to ask a series of questions, but you want it to be, you want to separate it from the questions you've been asking previously. You can use this if you want everything to be in one page. Now, if you want it to be in a different page, like when we need a different page, you want them to focus on this, answer it, then click next to go to the next section in another section that is not exactly on this section. If you want to separate the sections by, not by title, but like a different page entirely, you can use this section we showed you here. I showed you here. So basically you click plus, no, not this, you click this particular one to add this section. This, when you add a section using this, it will take you to another section like this. Now, if you add this, if you create a new section using this particular one, this title and description, the section will still be within the first section, just that to make it look like, okay, hey, this is a different set of questions. You can title it accordingly. So we click on next, takes you to, now remember we added required. So it is forcing me to put in a number, a value here. So let's just have some. I don't think I have required on any other one. I hope not. Okay, so now we move to the next. You can see this is the last phase of the questions. You can just, you answer them. Then when you've answered, you click submit. Now, the person has submitted from that side, submit. You can deactivate this, the ability to submit another response, or you leave it open so that people can submit answer question multiple times. You can see there's a response here. Now, if you share this form with your audience, and you can see the number of responses that number of people that have responded to the messages to the form here, and basically let's go there. Let's quickly go there. We're running out of time. This is basically responses. You see a summary of the responses to all the questions you've asked. You see a list of the questions you've asked. You see the people who, the individual questions you asked separated. So for the summary, you see response to each of the questions one after the other. And you find this is a pie chart that describes, hey, this option, so and so people ticked this response, so and so people picked this response. You get stuff like that. You can copy the response out into whatever tool or chat or wherever you want to. Now, I mentioned that you can connect this, your Google form, to a spreadsheet. This is the place you connect it to a spreadsheet. Under response, you click on create spreadsheet. When you do that, it asks you to create a spreadsheet, or you should, after you want to use it in a new one, let's just use this as just give this a title of GF, not girlfriend GF. I mean Google. Let's choose that. Forms. Okay, create. Then it takes you to spreadsheet. So this means that as people are answering this question, this spreadsheet will be filled automatically. Emphasis on the fact that it's going to fill up by itself. So as more people are answering your questions, this thing will refresh automatically. So instead of normally the best way to do it is like when you submit your form, I want to share responses with your team. You can create this from this place and click on this share. Click on share, take it from restricted to link with all, then it's done. Just click on copy link and you share this with people, with your team or whoever, then they can open it and see a list of all the responses. As more responses are added, they will see it in real time. So you don't need to be exporting Google Form all the time. So for exporting on Google Form, actually, let's look at that. You can click these three dots here again. You see response.csv, or you can print all response as PDF. But I think this works very well. But if it's an online collaborative effort, you share the link instead. It's much more effective. Share the link, and your team have access to it. They can use the responses for whatever purpose that they need it they need to use it for. They can deactivate the response. This would deactivate the form, and nobody can answer the questions in the form anymore. Now let's go to settings quickly. You can toggle this to set, there are more functionalities here that we can cover today, but basically you can set the questions to simulate a quiz. You can present you can add more functionalities to your presentation and add a confirmation message. For example, when somebody's like at this point, right, you can change this message from this default to something more meaningful through this space. Under presentation, you go to confirmation message, click on edit and put your confirmation message, period. Then under form default, you can collect users' email by default, or you don't. If you tick default, you want to collect their email by default, Google would tell your users that their emails are being collected. So take that and then take note of that. So I think it's important to ask for users' permission to take their email so that when you send email to them, they will know where you're coming from. And you can also tell them where you got their email from. So default questions by default. So you can also toggle this for whatever purpose you might need it for. And pretty much that is it. You can see when I toggle this quiz, we now have a total point. If you take it out, you can see we don't have total points. So this is a function that allows you to customize the form to make it seem like and look like a quiz. Yes. So now one more thing we need to look at is this. So you can use this to undo a particular, if you're fielding questions, but you made a mistake, you can use this to undo what you've done, to redo it again, like you clicked on undo, but you want to return it back, or you redo, then you click send. So it's send. Yes, one more thing, very, very important, because this has happened to me before and it caused a lot of trouble. If you shorten your URL, right, like for example, take note of this. You see, we have HWS7. Perhaps the software has changed because I stopped using shortened URL for a very long time. You've noticed the form changes compared to this where you have this long string of links. If you shorten it, it is short, right? Then you click copy and you leave this environment. You share this to the public, you go about your normal business of the day. If whatever thing takes you back here and you come back here, remember we saw HW and all that. If you click on this again, you see the link has changed. Now, when the link changes like this, the previous link that you copied won't work again. Let me show you because I copied the previous link. Unless the software has changed, it won't work. You see, the form or tutorial is no longer accepted. Okay, we reactivated that. Let's turn that on. Then let's test that. It's possible that this has changed, but last time I used this, it really was a pain in the ass. So let's just try that out quickly. So come here, shorten URL first time, copy, right? Then we'll leave this environment. Then we come back again to the same place. We shorten URL second time. So now we'll shorten URL. Let's open the first link. All right, let's open the first link. Oh, Interestingly, it has changed, but that is something to take note of. So the way I would usually do it, because since the purpose is to shorten links, you could use tools like Bitly or Tiny URLs to shorten your URLs so that you would have a very short and customized URL if you're trying to shorten your URL. So much so that you can have the name of the event, program, whatever it is that you're doing. You can have that as the URL. For example, meet and greet. You can have bit.ly.meet and greet. So it's much more meaningful if the purpose is to make the links meaningful. So, but this is also a very useful feature. So if you're collecting emails, you can check this and you share your links to wherever. If you're embedding this in a website, I think this feature is no longer, okay, it's available, but because of the file upload that is included in the form, it's not working, but you can include this in your website, your web page, or wherever the case may be. Basically, that is it. That is all for today's class. So then you can also add this, move this to a particular folder. You can start this so that, let's click on start. Move this to a folder, create a folder, put it inside a folder. It makes it, add it to a particular structure that you've already created. And now let's go back to, we'll see the start form somewhere here. So this hasn't started. If it is when more response comes in, you will see the difference. Do you have any questions for me? I'm awaiting your response and your questions. Do you have any question for me? If you have any question, put that in the chat box. I'm literally looking at it right now. If you don't, you can also mention that you don't.
So
any questions?
Okay, sorry about that. So guys, if you have questions, go ahead and ask your questions. Someone will answer them. So any questions? Okay, if you do not understand, just let us know that you do not understand by typing that in the chat box. If you did, also let us know by typing in the chat box. Okay, I think someone dropped a question somewhere. Okay, hello. Okay. Samuel, can you speak now?
Oh, yes, I can. Can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, someone was asking, Chika is asking about the quiz option. Okay, let's basically the quiz allows you to create a quiz, right? Like, let's go back there. There are lots of features there, depending on what you're trying to. Let's just close this. Okay, so you go to settings, right? Settings tab. So we toggle the quiz. So immediately submit each option later after manual review. Then basically, do you understand, right? Like basically the features you would need to make it seem like a quiz. Like how many minutes do you want people to spend on each question? Do you want the question to disappear? Like the correct answer, if you have wrong answer, you want them to see the points, total points, get stuff like that. Those are the information we have on that making the quiz, just to give you enough functionality to create a quiz. So we have another question. Please, can you explain how you can collaborate with a team on the form? So the collaboration is the spreadsheet. So you just need to go to response, click on, close this, click on, because I've already created a spreadsheet, I just need to click on view spreadsheet and it take me to this. You can see this was the first time I created the spreadsheet. This allows you to collaborate on the form. Thank you for your questions, Chika. Thank you for your question. Jem, then Manuel, can a form be edited after it has been put out? Yes, why not? Let me go back. This is a form that we've created already, right? Go back to questions. You can see I can still change the values. You can still change stuff. So yes, you can edit a form after it has been created. Please, can you repeat the option that you made optional? The one you asked for contact information. Contact information. Oh, okay. Let's go back to contact information. Where did we ask for contact information? Down here. So basically, I said you can create a new section, right? Like you can create a new section and ask for different information. Then you can also ask for this different information in the same section, but make it seem like a different set of questions. Now, if it's a new section, it will take you to a new page, right? Like it will take you to another page different from the page that the user would see first. The person that is filling the form will see first. Then basically to look exactly like the first section, just that it's in another page. That is all. Any other question? Thank you for your question. Yeah, personal information. Yeah, I think I've answered that. I hope you understand. Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question? Thank you so much for your questions. Really appreciate. And thank you for engaging with today's workshop. Any other question? You're welcome. Other question for me? Waiting for your questions so that we can round up today's class, today's workshop rather. So this saves automatically, so you don't have to bother about the information disappearing or deleting. So it's Google, so everything backs up to the cloud immediately. All right. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, and you're welcome. So over to you. Oh, I have a question, please. One person. Oh, yeah, ask your question now. Time is
ticking. Ask your question.
Yeah, but if you ask a question now, or you can ask it on the Discord server. If you've not joined the Discord server, you can request for the link and to share it with you. No questions? All right. Jem, ask your question in the Discord server. Over to you. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you very much, Samuel, for your time. Thank you for coming on this call. So I guess since there are no questions, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, do well to drop it on the Discord server. I think Okay, so last question here before we call this a day. Someone is saying, please, is there a maximum number of questions to ask on the Google form? Okay, somewhere you can unmute. Hello,
Sam. So I think if there are no more questions, we can actually end the session, Amaka.
We just have, okay. All right, I think I thought someone dropped this last question. That's why I just needed someone to answer before we go. But I think he's already left the call. So this question is, when I create a Google form, I mistakenly deleted the form and I couldn't get responses again. Please, how do I reverse the response if there's a case like that? It's already deleted. So maybe you could check your trash if it's there. And if it's still there, you reverse it back. Or if not, you have to create a new form. So thank you guys. Okay, I'm seeing happy birthday. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So thank you all for coming on this class. Thank you, Samuel, for being here. He has already left. So have a lovely day, guys. For product guys. Okay, have a lovely day, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you.